You're
How about
good.
you can hear me all right? All right, great. So I don't know what exciting news Ernie is thinking that I have to present to you guys tonight, but there is some exciting news to share with you. One of those things is coming soon is going to be a built-in forum. And what that's going to mean is that people are going to be able to come into Ad Hit Profits and go to the forum and discuss whatever's going on. There's going to be a support area for easier answers. Moderators, of course, will be in there. One of the great things about having a forum is it actually will increase visibility, not only to our site and the services, but also to all of the banners that the advertisers are placing. And also within the industry, I think that it'll really attract a lot more advertisers. Now, one of the things that's going to also be built into the forum is if somebody wants to place a new program, like if they want to start a new topic, they're going to have to pay for that. And so, of course, those revenues will be split with everyone as well. So we're constantly looking at lots of additional ways to add additional value to our advertisers, as well as more revenue streams to be able to split with everyone as we keep growing larger and larger. We have now reached over 8,000 members, and so that's actually growth of over 1,000 people in the last week. And so I'm really looking at seeing what we can do to ensure that as we grow bigger and bigger, that we don't thin out everyone's share, because that's one of the things that a lot of people are really concerned about as we keep growing bigger and bigger, is maybe possibly watching their split amount shrink smaller and smaller. So what we're always wanting to do is increase the size of the pie that we're splitting with everyone. Now, some additional really exciting news is I've actually been meeting with more and more leaders throughout the industry online through Skype who are starting to take notice, and I think that this has come at a really great time because a lot of programs nowadays are freezing up, they're slowing down payments, maybe delays in payouts, people waiting payouts for months and months, maybe weeks at the very beginning stages of waiting and waiting and waiting, and people saying there's got to be something else out there that's paying and something that's sustainable. So we've actually had quite a few leaders reviewing the actual pay plan of Ad Hit Profits and recognizing, wow, this isn't a Ponzi like some of these others that they've gotten involved in, some of these other programs that have stalled up on them and are not paying. And regardless of whatever excuses or reasons some of these other programs are telling their people, they're just not paying out. And that's really a big deal, seeing what we're doing here at Ad Hit Profits, or people getting paid within minutes or within hours, very fast, and being completely stable, coming close to our second month mark, excuse me, and we're actually getting close to actually paying out over $2 million. We're actually getting really close to that. I would say we're probably going to reach that within the next 4 or 5 days. So there's some real excitement going on. Some teams are coming on board, and we're going to be adding additional features that are going to expand the revenues. Now, what does that mean for you? I would say that one of the best strategies for you right now, if you really want to take part in making a lot more money, especially as we're still just very young within the industry, is to make some contacts to other leaders, website owners, admins, programs that are just starting out, and let them know of the price discounts they can have advertising on Ad Hit Profits versus some of these moneymaker groups, forums, Talk Gold. A lot of these monitor sites are actually charging a whole lot more, and their services actually deliver a lot less. And if you're one of the advertisers who's purchased one of our banners, you know what kind of clicks that you're getting on your advertisement. And I'll tell you that I've actually tested out some of these monitors myself, and I am not getting the kind of results that our advertisers are getting on Ad Hit Profits. So I'm actually quite envious. I wish that there was a site like Ad Hit Profits out there that I could promote Ad Hit Profits on, but there's just nothing out there that matches the quality of the advertising service that people are actually going to be able to find as they place their banners on Ad Hit Profits. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who have used banner advertising before and who have not seen any results. And I know that that happens generally as people use banner advertising on some safe lists or some traffic exchanges, or maybe some kind of banner network that they've gotten involved in. And they're probably looking at our prices and saying, no freaking way I'm going to spend that kind of money on these type of banners. But one of the things that I think that's important and key to really recognize is our Alexa ranking is a lot higher than some of these other banner networks, and a lot more eyeballs are actually seeing those ads. And I know that people that have tested out these ads, they have seen a big difference in their results. So if you haven't yet tried the banner advertising on Ad Hit Profits, I highly recommend the service. It's something that I can actually stand behind with confidence, knowing that you're going to see some kind of results. And I don't know what exact results you're going to have, but I'll tell you that to increase your results, and this is just my experience as an advertiser myself, is that you want to use a unique banner. If you're using your company replicated banner, you're probably not going to get as many clicks as if you were to use something unique that you've created yourself. Something that's going to cause people to wonder what is behind that banner. And when someone clicks on that banner, if you're using a company replicated website, you might see some signups. You might not see a lot of action, mainly because people don't know who you are. So if you have a banner linking to a lead capture page, you're going to see a lot better results because people are going to want to sign up to find out what information you want to give them. So the people that are seeing the greatest results through their advertising efforts are those that have a lead capture page set up that's not giving a whole lot of information, but leading people on to say, I want to know what this person has to offer me, so that they enter in their name and their email, and they can be followed up with later. So that's where you're going to see a lot better results. I mean, that's just from one advertiser, one marketer to another here for you to know how you can maximize your results with our services. I mean, one of our leaders, and if he's here, Albie, he can vouch for this. He made a video detailing just from the advertising through the listing. He was noticing that he was getting more clicks actually than what was registering in his back office. And not just that, but of the clicks that were signing up, there was a conversion rate over 4%. And if you've been involved in internet marketing whatsoever, then you know that anything better than 2 or 3% is gold. So the services that we're offering, the $45 listing, some people are just setting up an Ad Hit Profits site and saying, this is my website, I'm just going to promote Ad Hit Profits to other Ad Hit Profits members. I think that's kind of throwing away a real opportunity for you to cash in on some real golden leads. Because just like what the website says, we're delivering proven buyers to whatever website you put in there. Everyone who's clicking to earn has paid at least $45. And if you think about that for just a minute, the type of traffic, the targeted traffic for making money opportunities, and people that have actually spent money on a money-making opportunity, I mean, that's huge, not to mention the fact that these are people who believe in making money opportunities online. There's a lot of people out there in the world who do not believe in making money opportunities online. So that's what makes this such a powerful marketing platform, is not only is it giving you the leads that you need and the direct traffic to your website, whatever it is, of people who are actually interested in what it is that you're looking to promote, but you're actually making money too, which can be spent to join some of these other opportunities. And I've already heard a lot of people say, I'm withdrawing my Ad Hit Profits earnings and I'm going to put that into another program. And I'm hearing it going vice versa. People earning from other programs, putting it into Ad Hit Profits and getting involved back and forth. So that's the kind of community that's being developed here, is we're actually tapping in and leveraging money from this program, entering in other programs and other programs coming into this program. It's really quite interesting. It's really quite neat to see the type of magic that's really been going on online. Now with Ad Hit Profits, there's definitely a future. There's people that are saying, well, we're at 2 months mark. Where are we going? Can we see this going forward 2 or 3 years or more? And I think absolutely. One of the things that I've been touching upon with leaders is, are we going to have enough revenue? And I kind of look at it this way. Once when we get large enough, then we'll actually switch over from actually promoting banners to being by day or week or month. What it's actually going to switch over to being is pay per click. And what that's going to do is actually tap into a whole lot better money. And I think the reason why that would actually work out better is you can pay maybe $100 for your campaign and only pay for your clicks. So that's actually going to lower the price for the advertisers, and actually raise the revenue overall, because now we're going to probably see a lot more advertisers paying for that, because now they're only paying for the results that they're getting through the clicks. And because of how high click rate we're actually delivering for advertisers already, we're going to start to see a lot more revenues coming in. And I think that it's actually going to start to compete, especially when we get large enough. Especially as people are seeing, some of these teams coming in already and saying, I'm going to be building this up to having my whole 15,000 team coming in. Or I'm going to have my whole this team, and they say, can you handle, what if you had 200,000 people come involved with this? If we had 200,000 people involved with ad hit profits, that would actually compete with Google when it comes in terms with keywords and pay-per-click advertising. Because if you think about it, if you're on Google and you're paying per click for making money at home or making money online opportunities, you're going to be paying anywhere between 30 cents per click up to $1 per click, maybe even more. So if you can start to save money per click, let's say I offer 25 cents a click, you're going to be starting to see savings for these advertisers that are already spending thousands of dollars to Google, and they'll actually have a better tap directly right into the industry that they're actually trying to reach. So I think that if we grew large enough, and a lot larger than we are, some people, they can be a little bit worried that maybe we won't be able to handle that, or maybe they're going to thin out the earnings and things like that. I see that as a greater benefit and a better way of actually harnessing the network for the whole industry, and actually making things a whole lot better for everybody involved here at Hit Profits. Thank you very much, Konos, there. Now, I want to pause here and ask if anyone has any questions that I can address and answer for you while I'm on mic. Thank you, Pam. Thanks, Jeff. It truly is amazing, and I kind of look at this, and Rui is one of the people that actually pointed this out, and I didn't realize this before, but he was comparing ad hit profits with companies starting out like Banner's Broker, and he was comparing where we're at as far as traffic, and we've only been out for less than 2 months, and where we're actually competing with the amount of visitors a day is phenomenal. So early in the advancement of this program, it's phenomenal. And I know that all of this growth and all of the progress and what's made this program so great is really each one of you who is here, and each one of you who might be listening to this recording. Is every single one of you has made ad hit profits as incredible as it is. I mean, I've put together the engine, but all of you guys put in the gas and the mileage and picked it up and ran with it. So thank you so much for every one of you being involved and making this as awesome as it is. Alexander, I'm from Utah. Exactly. Dream work is what's making this dream work. Absolutely teamwork. Can this program cope with the growth in the future? I recognize what you're talking about there, Angelos, and one of the things I really like about the way that this is set up, and like what you're saying, that a lot of programs explode and then collapse, and the main reason why those other programs are collapsing is because they are actually set up to be Ponzi schemes. And that's one of the great things about ad hit profits is we're not offering any percentage per day, but that if you remain active and you're clicking your 10 ads a day, then you'll be able to receive your share of any site revenue up until you reach the 125% or the 56.25 on any of your shares. So that's where it's a variable rate based upon actual sales that are coming in. So that's where it's not ever going to collapse. It's not going to crash. And that's where we're going to be adding those additional streams of revenue to increase the amount that people can earn every single day. I'd like to know the exact how to approach potential advertisers. Malcolm, I think that as an advertiser myself, I've actually received quite a lot of emails from different websites offering services to ad hit profits to myself to take advantage of their services. And what I actually do is I look at their advertising service and I look at what their Alexa ranking is, and I look at how it ranks compared to maybe some others that I've had in mind. Because what I really want to look at is capturing a good portion of the market. I want to get some really good exposure. If I'm going to be paying any sort of money for advertising whatsoever, I want to make sure that my ads are seen by real people. And I think that's one of the things that you might do is, as you are approaching advertisers or business owners or companies or whatsoever that you want to invite to use Ad Hit Profit services, is make sure to point out to them the Alexa ranking compared to maybe some other popular programs, maybe their rival. Maybe you might find out what their Alexa ranking is and show them what we are compared to them. You know, I think that if we were compared to some of these other multi-level marketing companies, we might actually pull ahead of the actual corporate website. So if you showed them that they could get their ads seen by more people than who are currently seeing their own website, it might actually really increase the amount of attention that they say, you know, I need my website to gain more exposure, and if this website's getting that much exposure, I definitely want my banner on their website. So that's something that you can definitely see. Let's see. So that's approaching, prepared for the holiday advertising this year. What do you mean by prepared for the holiday advertising this year, Luther? In light of AdPack's maturity, would you recommend a reinvestment strategy? Anthony, as far as when it comes to financial advice, I'm really not in a position to offer that, especially as the program owner. It's actually kind of crosses some legal boundaries, but what I would definitely recommend is to ask other members and find out what it is that they're doing, what strategies are working for them, and that way you'll be able to find out, you know, what would work best for you through maybe some trial and error, maybe applying what somebody else is doing. Would it make sense if I'm not active as in yet to click the 10 ads daily? Tanya, as far as with clicking the ads, you really don't need to do that unless you actually have an ad pack or if you're about to purchase an ad pack for your shares, because clicking the 10 ads daily is going to make it so that your ad pack is going to qualify for a split in the revenue for that day. If you're an affiliate, you can certainly earn without having to click any of the ads. You can just distribute your referral link and invite leaders and website owners without having to click any of the ads. And you're absolutely right, Ernie. It's not an investment whatsoever. It is a purchase. Your website is so confused, you should make it user-friendly. Emery, I'm not too sure exactly what you mean by that, because I feel like it's very user-friendly, very clearly. There's a sign-in button, sign up, it's clear. There's an arrow that points right at it. All of the information's clear as far as what I can see. It's got a how it works, very clear, simply illustrated. When you log in, every single thing that you might think of wanting to do, there's a clear menu choice for that. So I'm not sure how you feel that it's confusing. Yes, there's definitely a lot of tutorial videos out there. I'm seeing that there's multiple leaders that are putting together some videos of how this works, how to set up banners. And I mean, I reflect back. I mean, I started online back in 2008, and I reflect back and I think to myself, when I first started, I didn't know the first thing about HTML. And I remember that when someone asked for a banner URL or a target URL, I wasn't too sure on what they were asking for until somebody said, well, the banner is going to, of course, be the image that you're wanting to have. And so it's a URL, so I knew that that was a web address. So I feel like even as a beginner myself, once when I looked at what it was asking for, especially when nowadays a lot of websites are showing, you know, this is your target URL and this is your image URL. Hopefully that helps clarify, but also if you're looking at the HTML of a banner, the code, it actually says like target equals or image source equals, and it pretty much kind of shows it for you. And if you need any help, there's definitely a lot of videos, and I know that Ernie has put together a really great Facebook page that has some videos, and I know that Dave or Dr. Zink has also put together some videos for that as well. Are there any plans to put together a new look of the site in any way? Right now there's not any plans for that, but it's something that I've considered. I've been looking at it right now. We've been seeing some really good growth, some really good things going on. And so there's a part of me that says I don't want to change any aspect of this machine because it's working. I only want to improve. So if I can find a way to make it look more attractive. So far there's been some good good attraction to the way that the site is designed right now. So I kind of want to leave that alone. I would suggest, let's see, that you add somewhere on the main page for a Facebook link page. Thanks for the work one night rather than the clock. You actually really can click anytime. The system will essentially only check to see if you've clicked 10 ads within the last 24 hours. So every 30 minutes, what's going on within the system is it's checking to see, first of all, how much revenue has come in within the last 30 minutes. And it takes all that revenue and it says, okay, now who in the system has clicked within the last 24 hours? It's kind of a yes or no thing. So it doesn't really matter what time zone you're in, and it doesn't really matter as far as what time or the graphs, what day was your last click on the graph. It's really within the last 24 hours. The graph really just helps you track and monitor that. So really what I would probably recommend, if the graph or the time or whatever is too confusing, that's actually one reason why we added the time count down, that timer there, is to help people recognize more clearly when it is that they need to click again, their next 10 clicks. So it doesn't really matter. Exactly, Pam. As long as the bar is green, you can click any time before the time runs out. Too many sites look fancy and professional, but no real substance. Let's see. And really, you can click any time. I know that I've had a support ticket earlier today that somebody was saying, wow, my next click time is midnight. I don't want to stay up till midnight every single night. You can click any time. If 5 o'clock you get home from work or something and you want to click your ads, you can go ahead and just click them at 5, and then it'll set your next click time to being 5 the next day. So it really can be any time. As far as with sending out emails, there's already just so many emails that are being sent out, especially with our number of members and the number of people that are requesting password resets, people that are signing in from a new IP address and needing to verify a new IP. There's so many different emails being sent out. I really want to avoid on sending out more, mainly because the more that our system is being taken up by sending out a lot of emails, makes it so that those that are setting up to send out solo advertisements, that the email system now has more of a delay, and maybe somebody might want to have their solo ad delivered sometime within the next couple of days. And if we send it out today, and it's going out to 28,000 people, for example, the system actually is breaking up into blocks of a certain amount and sending those every 10 minutes or so, and just to make it so that the whole block of everybody's email gets out there. It can really slow down the system load time for various other things. So I kind of want to minimize all of that. So tell us more about Easy Bonds. With Easy Bonds, the main reason why I got involved with Easy Bonds is they approached me and said, hey, one of the great things that we offer with Easy Bonds is we will share with you the transaction fee. So they actually have a $2 transaction fee, and of that $2 transaction fee, every time somebody makes a purchase on our website or makes a withdrawal, they're going to share with us 25 cents. So the more people that we have involved with that 25 cents is actually automatically placed into the pool for sharing. So as we have more and more people withdrawing or making purchases with Easy Bonds, that means that's going to actually increase the amount of revenue that we can share with everybody. Now, I know that Easy Bonds is something new for a lot of people. It's certainly something new for me. I know that some people in some countries find it a lot easier to use than others. the way that I was explained is that it's very similar to adding funds via bank wire to Solid Trust Pay, where with Solid Trust Pay they give you a little printout. You take that printout to either your bank or your bank online, and you make that deposit to Solid Trust Pay for that exact same amount. And that's exactly the same thing with Easy Bonds. The amount that you need to make the deposit for is right there, and it's actually also a PIN, because for that day there is no one else that is making a deposit for that amount. So if you for some reason make any mistake on your membership number when you're making that deposit, they'll be able to find that payment within their system, because that's the only payment that's with that number, with that exact transaction number. So that's why it's so important to make the deposit for that exact amount, not any more or less. It's got to be exact to the penny. Why don't we use Liberty Reserve? Great question. Emery, that's something that when we first launched, there was a fair amount. I mean, I wouldn't say a whole lot, definitely not too detrimental to the site, but there is some amount of fraud that was coming through the system. And that amount of fraud, of course, was coming through different processors, but all of it was actually related with Liberty Reserve. So with Liberty Reserve, it was actually attracting more fraud on the website. And one of these things that actually happened with Liberty Reserve was there was an amount of money taken out of the Liberty Reserve account that we had set up. And the thing that really bothered me with that is Liberty Reserve showed on their transaction detail report is that it was a transaction that actually originated from ad hit profits. Now, with Liberty Reserve, there's an option to put in all this security, passwords, transaction things, codes, and everything so that nothing can happen. And not to mention that, but also set into where the transaction can only originate from a certain IP. So what happened with Liberty Reserve is they claimed that some purchases that emptied some funds out of Liberty Reserve originated from adhitprofits.com. So I looked through my database. There was no transactions for those amounts, as well as there was nothing installed, like maybe a hacker got in through our system to put in some kind of a hacker tool to make those transactions. First of all, they would have to find out what those passwords and pins were, which was impossible because all of that was encrypted and double encrypted using another file that actually saved a portion of it so that the file itself was encrypted. So it was very impossible for any hacker, first of all, to get those transaction codes, but also use our IP address. Now, because that transaction took place, I only can suspect one source, and that would be Liberty Reserve themselves took those funds. And so what I did is I immediately, I mean not immediately, but it took about 4 hours for me to think this through. I was paying out all the payments that were pending. You know, as I woke up that morning, I paid out everyone through Liberty Reserve. And after thinking about it for 4 hours, I thought to myself, we've already got this amount of fraud that's been coming through, and it's all been related with Liberty Reserve. And now Liberty Reserve themselves, there's no other explanation here. They stole money from this account. I can't trust Liberty Reserve anymore to have member money, because that's really what all the money is in the processors. It's member money. It belongs to you guys. So I couldn't trust them anymore with the funds being entitled to them. So I completed out the payouts, cashed out, exchanged out the funds, got rid of the Liberty Reserve altogether, and said no more of that. And luckily, I caught it early enough where there was no detriment whatsoever to the member earnings. So if everyone decided to withdraw today, everyone would have their payout. And I think I'm probably one of the only admins out there who would encourage everybody to give it a test every single day if you want. I mean, we've got all of the funds available for every single payment request. If you want to go ahead and if everyone in the entire business today withdrew, everyone would get paid. And that's where a lot of other companies, all of a sudden, they get this bum rush of payouts and they can't get paid out because they just simply don't have the funds. And so, yeah, I definitely had to leave Liberty Reserve. I don't trust Liberty Reserve. People have been asking, what about Perfect Money? I've been doing a lot of research into Perfect Money as well and finding that there's a lot of similar situations with Perfect Money. And so I really want to stay away from those types of processors that are really, there's a lot of hackers, a lot of games involved there that I just want to stay away from them. I might have skipped past some other questions, so if you've asked a question and I haven't answered it, please ask it again. Is the amount earned totally automated? The amount earned actually is absolutely automated. What happens there with that actually is the system itself is looking at all of the sales that came in within the last 30 minutes and distributes to everyone's account from the actual sales that came in within the last 30 minutes. So that's where it's completely self-sustained on every single sale, and that's where I can say without a doubt anything that you earn is definitely available for withdrawal. Now, one thing interesting about Liberty Reserve is they were very helpful when I was setting up my account and making sure that I got set up with the APIs, and make sure that I got set up with everything that I needed to get set up with, and their response time was very fast. But in relation to when all of a sudden there were some funds that were stolen out of my Liberty Reserve account, and I asked them some questions, all of a sudden now I don't get any response. And so to me, that just kind of makes me feel like that they're admitting to guilt when they don't even respond at all. I mean, before it was such an easy way to reach them about anything else, but about that topic, can't reach them. How often do you do this conference? Webinars are actually held once a week. Carl, that's what I've been told, but there's some that have actually been depositing straight to Bank of America, and they've been waiting maybe up to 10 days, 10 business days for their funds to be deposited. So, I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. I think you might actually be better off contacting Easy Bonds directly to get an answer to how that all works with Liberty Reserve or with Easy Bonds. Have you considered my suggestion? Let's see, to add at least one more feature, earnings figures. You know, when it comes to displaying what can be potentially earned, I want to stay away from that, mainly because there are a lot of sticky situations that can come from that. In reviewing a lot of laws, I would just want to stay away from any gray areas. I wouldn't want to place something in there that could potentially put us in any kind of risk of having any kind of government coming after us whatsoever. So that's one of the reasons why I don't put on potential earnings from your ad packs. All right, so there's a way to repurchase manually. So Alexander, I'd be happy to explain this for you. There is a way to repurchase manually, and that's going to be from clicking on the purchase/bump listing option. And again, to explain to anyone who is asking, what exactly does bump mean? Again, what you're purchasing is a listing in our directory. So when you're on the main website and you're seeing directory, and you click on that, you're going to see listings of all of the people who have placed an ad on the website. Now, when you bump, what that's doing is placing your ad back on the top. So it's actually bumping your listing back up to the top of the directory each time that you purchase, again, for $45, as well as getting another 1,000 visitors to your website. Now, the auto repurchase option is available to someone who says, you know, I don't want to check on my balance every single day, or maybe they're on the vacation and they've selected the vacation option and they just want it to automatically purchase. And you can actually set up and say, you know, when it reaches $100, I want it to purchase 2 shares. You know, you can set the dollar amount and how many shares you actually have the system purchase for you when it reaches that dollar amount. Now, the system will actually check every hour on the 45-minute mark where you're at. Some people have said, oh, this auto repurchase doesn't work because once when I reached my limit, it didn't process for me automatically. Well, it's not set up for it really for you to check to see if it's working. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to actually have it set up if you're going to be in the account anyway. But every hour on the 45-minute mark is when it's going to process through for you and check to see where's your balance. Okay, if you're at that certain balance, then I'm going to process whatever amount of positions that you've decided to purchase. You know, Nina, I think that might not be a bad idea, but I think that what I would really want to focus more on is maybe some kind of contest to win advertising. Because really that's what I really am wanting to grow is people's awareness of the kind of quality of the advertising of the service. That they can actually see what they would be getting if they were purchasing that, rather than giving them shares, because that's really where the revenues are coming from, are the ad purchases on the website. Let's see, suggested number. There's really no suggested number of shares for auto repurchasing. Some people, they have it set as 1, because every hour, if there's an ability to have at least 1 purchased, then they want it to be purchased. They want their funds to be used as soon as possible. They don't want to build up and then purchase a group. They want it to be 1. So I mean, it's really up to your own desires on that one. But it is set to allow you to play around with it and set it according to however you want it to be. Absolutely, Teddy. Being able to use Payza is incredible. I remember getting that approved and just feeling just such a satisfaction, because there's a lot of programs out there who can't accept Payza because they are actually breaking the law. You know, because one of the things that's actually quite true is that if some sites don't accept Payza, it's because they're probably not compliant with the law somewhere. So being able to accept Payza is kind of it's a home run. It shows you a lot of credibility, just like what you're saying. Is there a cap on the number of positions that we can have? Right now there's no cap. That might change sometime in the future, but I haven't seen any need for putting any kind of cap on maximum number of positions that you can have at this time. And you might be right with that. We don't really need gimmicks or anything like that, Lois. You're probably right. Let's see. Is it possible that our shares can keep going up without adding fresh money? See, the thing is this is something that actually works differently than what some programs are familiar with. People are familiar with a lot of programs that split the earnings from additional shares or ad packs being purchased. And that's where the slowdown comes from, and that's where a lot of people experience maybe if they're being promised a set percentage rate per day, that the program really can't keep up with that set percentage rate when all they're selling is ad packs. So because we're actually selling a lot more than just shares, there's not going to be a maximum number of positions, because you're actually sharing from actual revenues that are coming in from actual advertisements. So I mean, I haven't seen the need to put any kind of limit on that yet. But Payza can't freeze a program's account without a period of time. One of the things that I really like is I've actually, you know, some of you know this already, as I've been an experienced admin online for some years with my pay-to-click websites. I've actually had an account manager assigned to me from Payza that I have a really great relationship with. And she's actually really keen on looking out and making sure that everything's good for us here at Hit Profits, as well as on my other websites, making sure that if there's any problems, I'm aware of them. And so that if there is any kind of risk of me losing the account or having any funds frozen, she would let me know first. And we would make the necessary changes to make sure that this stays up and running. So I really look at this as, like what you're saying, Emery, PayPal is not a good option because of the freezing of accounts. But Payza is really good because they do not freeze accounts for the same reasons that PayPal does. Payza would really freeze accounts if I was a scammer. and since I'm not, then there's no risk really of having Payza ever limit the account whatsoever. Do you think using the words shares? See, the thing is there's two different terms, and I've been looking into this quite specifically even before this launch, is there is a difference between sharing in revenue, so that's one reason why it is said that you split all profits. So it's a sharing, meaning that word actual is a share, rather than a stock or a bond. So I'm not at any risk legally with that definition of the way that we're using the word share, because it's sharing in revenues rather than being a share like a stock or a bond. Exactly, Lewis. Definitely not a security. Nothing like that. So we're not gonna. Yep, that's my phone. It's actually something that I gotta take. But before I turn the time over to Ernie or Pam, were there any other questions before I turn the time over to somebody else? Thank you, Phyllis. If a person has 30 shares and 7 expires, is it possible to combine by repurchasing? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can repurchase all that you want. You can use your earnings to repurchase because those earnings are essentially the same as cash. I mean, it actually is the same as cash because cash is completely backing up every single penny that's on every single account. I am thinking about putting payment automation when we reach a certain amount. Basically, Bessa, when it comes to that, what I'm looking at is if we're going to be, it's really coming down to if it's going to be too much of a burden on me. Right now, payments, the way that they're set up right now, there's not any burden. I mean, I shouldn't say not any, but I mean, I'm able to keep up with it really easily. So, I mean, if it starts to become too much of a hardship to keep up with the payments, then yeah, I've actually already had it built in with my programmer to simply flip it on to pay out instantly. Except for with easy bonds, I would have to process those manually, but those aren't very hard at all. Who is telling you that it is legal, won't be coming knocked if you don't have... You know, when it comes to your 1099s, that's actually going to be on your responsibility. So really what you'll want to do is if you're earning more than $600, I think is what it is, from at-hit profits, then it's actually your own personal, individual tax responsibility to claim that. Since you're not employees of mine, I'm not required to get your Social Security numbers. In fact, if there's a program online that says that you need to give them Social Security numbers in order to receive payment, there's some kind of confusion in the tax laws there because, I mean, I've done some research, I've contacted tax professionals, and they're telling me that I do not need to collect your tax information. At least not within the United States. There might be some laws outside the United States if someone's hosted outside and maybe in the UK, I don't know, but I don't understand. I don't know. I'm not employing anyone, so I don't need your Social Security number. And for your security, I wouldn't. For me personally, I don't get out my Social Security number to some online business. I just don't. I just never would. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead then and turn the time over to Ernie or Pam or Dave. Who's going to be coming next?
Okay, I just want to introduce someone. All right. Thank you very much, Charles. And that was all exciting news. Charles coming on just to talk is exciting to me, and I hope it's exciting to everybody else. So, Charles, thank you very much for being here. It was very awesome. Now, for our presentation, I would like to introduce the one and only David, a.k.a. Dr. Zink, is going to be doing our presentation. So get ready for some awesome information that he's about ready to hand over to us. Dr. Zink, when you're ready, you go ahead and take the mic, and I'm going to mute. We're ready for you.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Hey, how's it going? First of all, I would like to introduce myself. Dr. Zinks. I do some of the Skype room channels, so I just wanted to be able to provide some support, some assistance. You know, me, Ernie, Pam, Carolyn, a lot of the moderators are also assisting Charles in the background to answer some of the questions to make sure he's fully focused on the project. So my main purpose tonight, I just wanted to help fill in any gaps, any misunderstandings, any gray area of how to understand the system or how to operate your back office. So let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up one of the guides that I brought together. Give me just 1 second. All right, it should be loading right now. Okay, to join the Facebook group, what I'm going to do is at the conclusion of this presentation, I'm going to provide the link in the group. If somebody has it right now, maybe they can post it for me. We have one main group. Pretty much we have, 4 or 5 Skype groups going as well at the current time. Give me just 1 second. Hey, Ernie, it's saying you must be the current speaker to begin screen sharing.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can modify this for me?
Okay, there you go.
All right, there we go. Yeah, looks like you had right there. Okay, my screen right here is going to be pretty much an overview. If anyone has seen any of my videos, I've pretty much done a overview of what ad hit profits is. There's been a lot of modifications since that.